Buckle up. Here we go. Because the run home just got a little bumpier.
You cannot be serious!
I've got to sit here every friggin' week.
There's got to be an investigation into this. This is the Triple M Rush Hour with MG.
Oh, not just any old rush hour. It is our grand final edition. MG, how pumped are you? How are your butterflies?
They're fluttering. They're fluttering wildly inside my stomach because it's only 2 more sleeps until Sunday. Obviously, we've got to get through a lot of stuff today in regards to what's going on in Brisbane. But yeah, look, it's all systems go, mate.
All systems go. We are with you here as a Panther. We're going to be getting some Rabbitohs in. We've got Sam Burgess joining us, Benji Marshall joining us. But we're doubling down on the Panther meter tonight.
Yeah, mate.
Ryan Girdler, welcome.
No, hello, boys. Thanks for having me. I'm going to be impartial a week. You know. Oh, look, I actually think there's 2 really good storylines coming out of this one, and spoke to MG about it before the show. Obviously, we want the boys from the West to get it done, but hey, there's some lovely sentiment, the South and their journey into the grand final this year, and if they win it, well, it could be worse.
Absolutely. Well, it's going to be a cracking game. We're going to break it all down. Speaking of lovely sentiment, we are going to be joined by Peter Sterling ahead of his final ever call for Channel 9 this weekend.
Yep.
What a broadcasting career that man's had.
Yeah, fantastic on TV, but won't be lost to our Triple M listeners.
Absolutely not. Channel 9's loss is Triple M's game. All that's coming up. This is the Rush Hour with MG and Liam and Ryan Girdler for our grand final special. The Rush Hour with MG, Liam and Ryan Girdler for our grand final special ahead of Sunday's game between the Panthers and the Bunnies. But off the top,
The Triple M Rush Hour with MG. What's cracking? Brought to you by Kraken and Dry Premix, the taste you've been hunting for.
could the grand final be postponed? Could we be doing this same show next week?
No, it won't be. Today, if you haven't caught up with what's happening in Brisbane, there was 3 active cases. And I think there's a bit of posturing going on between the government up there and Valandis. Valandis has kind of brought out the old postpone it, inverted commas, to kind of show his muscle a bit to Palaszczuk. I don't think it'd be postponed, but who knows what's going to happen in the next 24 hours.
They just can't do it, MG, because South earned the right to have the final series they have with a great win over Penrith in the first week, and then that good win the week off, and then the good win over Manly. And now if Penrith, who have lost that first game, have been, in some torrid encounters over the last 3 weeks, if they get 2 weeks off, it just falls into their favour and it takes away any advantage South Sydney had early on. So it just can't happen.
So just to run through the lay of the land as it stands at the moment, the game is scheduled to be played at Suncorp Stadium on Sunday. At the moment, it's with 75% capacity. There is a chance, Andrew Abdo has said this morning, that even if it drops down to 50% capacity, it will still go ahead.
Yep.
It is looking less and less likely that Townsville as a backup option will be used. Peter Volandis speaking this morning seems to suggest that Townsville is less likely than a postponement of an NRL grand final. But that would be pushed to the 17th. What does that do to players? Like for 2 weeks of non-activity, you talk about it would benefit the Panthers, but as far as touch and feel goes,
it would disadvantage both teams. You wouldn't get the same type of contest you'd get if you're playing on Sunday. Sunday is going to be an epic game because both these teams' journeys have been different. And Girds makes a really good point about Penrith. If Penrith get a couple of weeks off, and all of a sudden, or does that mean if they do get a couple of weeks off, is Latrell eligible if they're going to postpone it and play it? Like, he's got 2 weeks to go on his suspension.
well,
2 games, though, I think.
Latrell,
Oh, look, what it does.
Pangai Jr. would certainly be fit and raring to go.
He would then be
There's
available.
another advantage for Penrith.
And then you're taking, that the situation for a local junior in Spencer Leniu, who's then now excited about playing a grand final, you pull that away from him. So they need to make it happen this Sunday, and I believe they will. Even the fact that, South fans would probably be excited, but they might be able to get out to, obviously, Stadium Australia, and it'd be a great grand final to have in Sydney. But then you're taking it away also from the fans of Queensland that have bought their tickets. Now, we've already disappointed, I think, 25% of those people. So, it just needs to happen up there. MG spoke about the amount of cases that have come out this morning. It doesn't seem that's critical moving forward. So let's just get it done.
Yeah, I think the Peter Volandis, from the comments he's made, the crowd is what seems to matter to him most.
I get that.
And reading between the lines, it also you wonder whether there are TV implications, because if there's no crowd, it might not tick the boxes of the broadcast agreement as far as a spectacle.
Look, as a player, do you want to play in front of an empty stadium in the grand final?
Absolutely.
Even if you saw some of the games that at regional games, up at Rockhampton, and they had 5,000-6,000 there, but it was still good. It's still energetic, still some noise from the crowd.
Yeah.
You can't run out in the grand final with no one there.
Yeah.
No.
You wonder what sort of implication it has for those big, broadcasting networks as well. I mean, the amount of work we've done all week, but you think about, the TV and the Fox and the Channel 9 and those guys and all the packages put together.
Yeah.
I mean, to push that out 2 weeks. And I'll tell you what you do, and it happened during the Origin Series last year, and I'm sure that Volandis and that are quite aware. People lose interest.
Yes.
There's a lot of momentum in the game at the moment. In 2 weeks' time, you might lose 1 million viewers on the TV.
Well, the T20
point.
World Cup starts very soon. We get into spring carnival racing. The Everest is on the proposed new weekend. So, look, Peter Volandis has said that whatever happens, the two coaches will be consulted, and I imagine Wayne and Ivan will be on the same page, which is we're playing the game on Sunday. You would think, I would guess.
Yeah, I think so.
Let's hope they can agree on something.
I think so.
It's the Rush Hours Grand Final Special Edition. MG Liam and Ryan Girdler in for the full show. Now, with all this Panther energy in the studio, it's only fair that we bring a bit of Bunnies to the show. And there is no better man, the Clive Churchill medalist from the 2014 Grand Final, the last time South Sydney prevailed in the big one, joins us on the line. Big Sammy Burgess. G'day, Sam.
Hey, fellas, how are you?
Sammy Burgess, my man. Wow.
Hey, how are you? Good afternoon, fellas.
You too, buddy. Just looking at your Instagram page, and you've got a picture there reviewing Johnny Sutton on the bus going back from the game to... What a feeling, eh? What a feeling.
What a day. I mean, it was just, obviously it'd been 43 years since the last time South won, so, and we'd been close a few years before. I was leaving at the end of the year. I just got me and John Sutton, the best of friends. Some of the moments, a lot happens before the grand final. When you win, you get probably 10 minutes together on the field and a few moments in the sheds, but, there's media and family and whatnot. So that moment on the bus ride back to the juniors with John Sutton, the captain, the local junior, meant that's one of the moments that I cherish the most from that time. So it's, some great moments, but what a time for both teams, really.
Oh, goosebumps. You give me goosebumps, baby.
Oh, mate, I got them too. I don't think that ever leaves you, right? I mean, I'm sitting here. I'm so excited for the game, but proud. There's so many feelings going through your body, and it's just amazing. Great story for Penrith as well. They lost last year, been very consistent all year, so it's going to be a ripper of a grand final.
Hey, Sammy, the game has given us all so much, but when you're playing, I don't think you ever understand how much it gives you moving forward when you retire. And for South Sydney to make the grand final just must bring all those memories back to you. How's your week been? Have you spoken to Tom? What's going on? Who have you connected with from that side?
Yeah, I've spoken to everyone. I speak to Wayne 2 or 3 times a week. I've done all year. Wayne's got a habit at the moment. He rings me on his walk from the coach's box down to the changing room. So he's done that through the final series, which is pretty exciting. I mean, when we played Penrith in the first final, that was an amazing game to watch. I was during the game. I'm doing push-ups. I was so excited. I was watching the game by myself. Not joking. I was so pumped that I'm by myself watching the game. But I'll be with Russell on Sunday. We're watching. We're overseas at the moment, so we'll be watching together, and we'll be excited, sure. But the week's brought back a lot of emotion. It's just such a great week in the calendar. I always say that. Grand final week, it's just another game, but the day provides the magic. Now, if you believe in the magic will find you on the day. Now, and it's a special moment. Grand final, we see it every year. It produces something magical, something that never repeated again. So, it's that week. It's here again.
You've been hanging out with actors and creative types too much. That was beautiful, Sammy. Can I just clarify? Are you telling me that Wayne Bennett has is this at half time? When is he calling you during a game on his way from the coach's box to the sheds?
No. After when the final sirens go on, I always speak to him. Yeah.
Right.
I've got a great relationship with Wayne, so I speak to him a lot about a lot of different things. But obviously he knows how excited I am and what the company is to me. So I'm not with them as well. So I think he's just trying to keep me involved there as much as he can.
What do they need to get right, Sammy, on Sunday?
Well, I think it's not about what they've got to get right. They've just not got to let themselves down, which they've not done all year, really. Barring those couple of games, they've been very consistent. And it's a game of football at the end of the day. You've got to get out, you've got to do the simple things well. It sounds cliche, but it's so true. In the bigger games, it's even truer because the other team are doing the same thing and capitalising on your mistakes, trying to apply pressure. And when they get a crack, they try and pry it up. And so for South, it'll be the same thing. Our defence has been amazing, led by Cameron Murray. Damien Cook's been outstanding defensively. But Tom Burgess, Jai Arrow coming off the bench. Mike Nichols has been a revelation. So we get our defence right. We'll be aggressive with that. I think the rest flows on the back. We've seen Cody Walker, the magic he can produce with the ball. Adams playing square with the ball inside him. So it's the points will come for South. The points will come. It's just whether they can control Penrith and their attack.
All this grand final chat. Me and Girds are here, both flicking our hands, ready to jump on the field. I can picture you sitting on a lounge over there in the sun with your speedos on, just doing a couple of
You need
dips.
to stop picturing that.
Yeah, I know. I picture that all the time. Okay,
I'm doing high knees up and down the hallway. MG, I'm going mad.
Let's get back. Let's get to a more pressing mode. What about you on SAS, my brother? First of all, I don't know how you got through that tunnel because I would have done a Manu and said, "See you later, boys and girls." But Sammy, and this is a serious question: did you find the whole process cathartic?
Yeah, I mean, the process was great. As crazy as that sounds, I enjoyed it. I going into the show. Obviously, playing football, you do army camps and get put in some pretty uncomfortable positions. Playing a game of football, 80 minutes, you're out of breath from the first 2 minutes. You've got to hold that for another 78. So the show for me was sort of to put myself back in that arena and test myself, but also I kind of enjoy it in a weird way. So it was, we did some amazing things. I think next week on the show there's some amazing, you'll see some amazing tasks that we did, jumping out off speedboats, climbing into helicopters. It's amazing. So there's some cool stuff, but also that tunnel, MG, honest to this day, I do not know how I got through it. I don't know how I did it. And I don't think they knew how I got through it as well.
So I think they made it small enough so he couldn't get through, and they go, "Well, how did he?"
Yeah, I know. And to be honest, throughout the whole show, I have a smirk on my face, but they keep cutting it out every time they pull the bag off my head, or they'll say, we found one big enough to fit your head. They gave it to me about the size of my melon for the whole show. So it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, you're awesome, brother. Keep up the great work.
My favourite moment on that show thus far has been when Sam lands a straight right in the face of friend of the show, Heath Shaw. Yeah. And I text you, Heath, after that episode. I'm like, when they said, "Who do you want to fight?"
Don't say Sam.
Why would you say Sam Burgess? What was he thinking, Sam?
Well, listen, he had no choice, okay? And I love Heath. He's a great competitor. He's an amazing AFL player and a great guy as well. But he was 15, I'm 16, so we were like dorm roomies in the room, So anyway, when they called Heath out and he picked me after he told me the story, he said, "My mates told me if they do the boxing and you get chose to fight, if you don't pick Sammy Burgess or the biggest guy on the show, don't come home." So, So, and he couldn't really choose anyone else. Otherwise, he had to choose me because I would have, I don't know how I could have fought anyone else on the show. Everyone's half my size.
Dan Ewing would have had a go.
Oh, please.
Yeah.
Well, he got bashed up by Kobe Aberton. So, hey, Sam, we can't let you go without getting a tip for Sunday's game. I've got two Panther fans who no doubt are going to be tipping in the Panthers here. What's your prediction? Give us a Clive Churchill medal as well.
Well, I think the South to win. It's going to be extremely tight. I think South will pull away in the last 15. It's going to be 22-10. South, Cody Walker, Clive Churchill.
I love it, Sammy. Love it, brother. Where are you and Rusty will be watching the game on Sunday, buddy?
Mate, we're going to be together. We're overseas here. We're in Thailand at the minute, so we're going to be watching the game here. We'll be got pies ready for half time. It's game time.
Garlo pies, awesome.
Garlo's pies. Of course.
Garlo's all the way.
And how is Rusty? I've seen him pop up on bits and pieces of social media. Is he excited? He'd be overjoyed.
Yeah, mate. Look, listen. He's got a saying: "In when we trust." It's so true. He's pretty calm. He's jumping on now. He's just excited. He's proud of Wayne and the team and what they've been able to achieve. So. He did a great interview. It's over the Black Dot.
I saw it.
Indigenous
It's incredible.
It's amazing. Yeah. Anyone gets a chance to see it. It really shows you what the club means to Russell and how he does business. And he's a really special guy. So I'm really happy for him, the club, and obviously everyone involved.
Yeah, I hope he doesn't take it too bad on Sunday.
Oh,
no, he deserves it.
He
does.
These outside backs,
just
mate.
not this year.
Girds, you told me you've got aspirations of being on the big screen. You're not going about it the right way by disparaging Rusty. All right. Hey, Sam, we really appreciate you giving us some time, especially given that you're in another country. Enjoy the game on Sunday, and good luck to yourself.
Go on, you, Sammy.
Take care, Sammy.
Good to chat, boys. Thank you.
Nice chatting to you, bud.
Brother.
Now on Triple M's Rush Hour. And here we go again. We put the finals in focus.
Or in this case, I want to put the 91 grand final and the 2003 finals in focus because we heard from Sammy Burgess. He spoke about his experience with John Sutton after they won in 2014. And
did he sound good, Sammy Burgess? He's in a good spot. Great.
He is one of the most charismatic football players I think the National Rugby League has ever seen. Yeah. He's an incredible talker, and for those watching SAS, you see it on the screen as well. Your grand final memories, MG. When you think back to 91, as you would have had plenty of opportunity to do this week, what springs to mind straight away?
Euphoria is the first word that I can think of. I think after having such heartache in 1990, when I used to grow up watching all the players play a grand final, and then basically even guys in retirement, and they'd sit there after a grand final or in retirement, and then they just bawl their eyes out. And I said, I'm never going to be one of them blokes. Come on, it's only a game. But well, there I was in 90. That was me. I was on the field in tears. You don't know why you're crying. It's because you can't stop it. I did the same when I retired, but maybe I'm just a sook. I don't know. But 91 was different because the four of us went away on the Kangaroo Tour. We come back, and we'd seen these guys would intimidate us, the Raiders, the Broncos, the Tigers. We saw all them players on a different level on camp, in like 3-month camp in Origin. For Kangaroo Tour. The Blockers and the Ciros and the Lazaruses and the Laurie Dailies and the Ricky Stewarts and the Walters boys and Alfie, and they're all characters, and they love their family and they miss home. So we come back with a bit of a spring in our step from the Kangaroo Tour. And we changed our jerseys from the Chocolate Soldiers to the Licorice All Sorts, and we lost 3 games all year. And then the grand final come around, and at half-time they were beating us again, same team, 12-6. And then Royce jumped up and gave a really impassioned plea about, don't let this be my last memory of rugby league. And then Gus ramped it up even more, saying, don't you dare leave this guy like this. And so we went in the second half. I got sin bin. I went, there's the grand final gone. I just lost the grand final for my team. And when I watched the game back, I just didn't realise how hard our forward pack without me defended. And when I come on with about 20 minutes to go off the sin bin, I just saw the lift in my players, my teammates. They just went, wow, he's back, he's fresh. So start doing something, And then my memory of the 91 grand final is when I saw Scott Gale doing a short drop out. I've charged onto the ball, and I thought I was just going to dive on the ball and lock it up because it was 13-12 at this stage. But it just bounced up in my hands, and I thought, I'm going to score. But I didn't. Malcolm Nichols back there like he was for most of the second half, defending tries. So then I heard, MG, and I looked around, and Royce is sprinting with his little arms, and I give it to him. And when he put that ball down the corner, he jumped up. When he jumped up, I saw his face, and he was crying straight away. So I've gone, like I've yelled the loudest I've ever yelled in my life, and my larynx fractured.
Really?
Fractured. After going for 2 weeks, I couldn't talk because of the emotion, and it was about 3 minutes to go. So Brandy had to kick the goal from the sideline to put it out of doubt. And he did. He was kicking about 60% that year.
Yeah.
So it was meant to be. But that my memory goes straight back to that time when Roy Simmons puts the ball down the corner and you realise a childhood dream.
Incredible.
18 years since
Unreal.
your own grand final success, Girds.
Yeah.
What jumps to mind?
Most of mine's post. Walking over after we'd won it, walking over to see family and friends. We're in a certain bay I think it was like the southeastern corner of ANZ Stadium or Stadium Australia. And everyone just surged towards the ground, and the fence fell down and all the fans fell onto the ground, and I didn't get to, and because of that, security ran out. It's just, the scenes are crazy. So not really getting to see them at that point, but sort of acknowledging them. And then in the sheds after the game, when all the just the group sits together with the trophy in the middle, some vivid memories about those moments, intently. I think because I was at the back end of my career, I retired a year later, so savouring all of that part. And then one of the other great ones was just we knew that the whole community had lined not just Mulgoa Road but the M4 on the way to the game. So going home on the bus, I remember sitting next to Reece Wesser, and we had the trophy sort of in between us, and we were just having a bit of a cuddle and a beer. And I think that's when it really started to sink in what we just achieved. So me and Wes just sitting there, then walking into the club and having just, tens of thousands of people there. It's midnight by the time you get back there, and having that whole place just jumping. It was just like some sort of rave concert. And then finally they separated us from the fans, and then went up, and then finally got to see family and friends in this little area where they just had some food and that for us, which would be the last time we ate for a couple of days, because it was just all party alcohol after that. And then just the first time you get to share that moment with the people that have been through that journey with you intently. I remember hugging the old man and what it meant to him, and the tears, and my brother and my parents, and all. It was those things are what I take out of it mainly. Sharing it with the community and sharing it with the people that mean the most.
And that's what kind of we're lucky, because we're both in the media, so we get a chance to tell other people how good it was. Other guys who have won the comp feel exactly the same as us. We talk about it because we can. But everyone who wins a comp has the best memory of their life because they do it with their best mates. Yeah. And they how, like, through that year, you've gone through adversity, you've gone through ups and downs, you've been, in and out of form, you've been injured, and then finally been last game of the year and win it. It's so good. It's
what separates. So MG played at 3 or 4 different clubs. And I bet every time he thinks about football, the first thing he goes back to is the grand final. And it's the same for me, whether it's, there's some nice rep moments that we've all been lucky enough to share from a personal perspective. But when someone brings up the game, straight away you go back to the guys that you shared that moment with, that you take away forever. Regardless of what else you've done or what other clubs that you've been at. You win a grand final with a group and a club, that's for life.
Wade Graham was in here, and I remember he said the exact same thing when we asked him, your State of Origin series, Kangaroo triumphs, and he's like, it's the premiership. It's not even close. That's why you start playing football, is to win a comp with your team, and I can see you guys as you tell those stories, the smiles just spreading across your face as well. This Sunday, a group of 17 players will get to add their own stories of that ilk. So we cannot wait to see it. It's the Rush Hours Grand Final edition. MG's here, Ryan Girdler's here. We've already spoken to Sam Burgess. So we've got a bit of flavour from both Grand Final teams. It's time to bring in a neutral who has plenty of experience getting it done on the big stage. And when you talk about the fairy tales that are on offer for the Bunnies, with Wayne leaving and Adam Reynolds leaving, there's a fairy tale on offer for Channel 9 this weekend with the great Peter Sterling saying goodbye to commentary. And he joins us on the line now. G'day, Sterlo.
Hello, Liam. Good afternoon, gentlemen. What are you saying? One of the 7 dwarfs is leaving or something? Is that yeah,
which one are you, Grumpy?
I can be. Probably sleepy.
Sleep. Well, Sterlo, before we get on to
as long as he's not dopey.
Yeah, as long as you're not dopey, exactly.
I'll be dopey.
You'll be. Before we get on to the footy, I mean, how are you feeling? Wrapping up what has been a marvellous post-football career in the commentary booth and with Channel 9?
Man, I feel great. I feel excited. I'm really looking forward to the finale this weekend. And look, to be honest, I haven't really thought too much about this being my last weekend. It'll probably maybe hit me Sunday night, after the game, but maybe even more so later in the year because, at all years, I've had a really good break after grand final and then sort of, get back into it early in the new year. So I think it'd probably be January, February before it really starts to hit home that, well, no, I don't have a commitment coming up at the beginning of March for a new season. So I feel great. I'm really looking forward to a good grand final. I'm hoping that we'll get sort of similar football to what we've seen Penrith be involved in the last couple of weeks, and may the better team win.
Well, just on the career, mate, on TV, congratulations. You've been a mainstay in a lot of people's lounge rooms for a long time, and we're going to miss you now because your analysis of the game is right at the top of the tree. And thankfully, we'll still have a bit of Peter Sterling on Triple M, which is a great for our listeners. Let's go back to the early 1980s when Jack Gibson was roaming the land and he had this team who would go on to win 3 competitions in a row. What are your memories, Sterlo? What's your first memory of playing in the grand final and then winning one?
Look, my most vivid memory from that 1981 grand final, I can still see the sideline conversion from Michael Cronin landing, which put us 6 points in front, sort of late-ish in the game. And obviously in those days, a converted try was worth 5. So I remember that moment vividly, that's when I knew we'd won the grand final. The lead up and everything was, Jack was very, very keen to make sure that nothing changed. And I think he kind of set the trend there for clubs in preparation from that moment on, that you just kept the preparation exactly the same or as much as you could as possible, dealt with your media commitments. But then when they were out of the way, you just went back to what had got you there, and that worked very well. Jack had a real sense of timing as well. Like Parramatta had gone close to winning premierships in the mid to late 70s. So Jack took over a side and an organisation that I think he knew wasn't far from, attaining ultimate success. So, he was the icing on the cake for us, I suppose, and no coincidence in the 3 years there. We won 3 titles.
Okay, Pete. Well, I'll take you forward quite a few years to the 2021 grand final. Now, we called that game last week on Sunday, Penrith and Melbourne. It was a brutal encounter. Was that good for their preparation, or was that better for South's preparation?
Oh, I think it's great for them, Girds. The only concern, again, is everybody's carrying some niggly type of injury, and the only concern is, how much that might inhibit a couple of players, because we have seen, Brian Toto sort of limping around. Obviously, Pangai Jr. has already pulled out. There's a bit of a doubt about Dylan Edwards, maybe, also Kickow. But, mate, they're a young team. And I think the big thing, Girds, as you would know better than anybody, is that experience in big matches is invaluable. And so many of these Penrith players who are still young have actually gone through 2 Origin series since last year's grand final, because Origin was obviously played at the end of the season last year. So, some of their players and leaders, like your Isaiah Yo's and your Nathan Clearys and that, they've got more of those kind of games under their belt, and I just think that puts them in really good stead this weekend, and they'll learn from last year, and the hurt from last year is something that you don't want to ever experience. So there's a lot of motivation for them.
All right, well, Sterlo, we can't let you go without getting you a tip for the game, a scoreline, if you will, and as the most qualified person in the room, frankly, to tip us into a Clive Churchill as somebody who's won one, who do you think will take home that honour as well?
I'm going to go Jerome Luai. Really like what I've seen. I think he'll really benefit from maybe a fair bit of emphasis put on Nathan Cleary. So I'm going to go for a Penrith victory. I think Nathan will kick a field goal, and I'm tipping that they will win 25 points to 12.
Oh, I tell you what, it is not far off the exact prediction that our very own MG's delivered as well. The Nathan Cleary.
Really?
I went 23. I went 23-18. Yeah.
23-18.
I think Sam Burgess was South Sydney 22-10. So some big margins there, boys.
No, it's all floating around the right area. And now, Sterlo, well, as you say goodbye to TV this weekend, are you going to be given the opportunity to deliver some sort of signature line to say goodbye to the audience?
Good night, Sydney.
No, mate. I might just. The only signature line I ever had was, we'll freeze it there, so that'll be it.
Freeze it there. I like that.
We'll freeze it there. I love that.
Peter Sterling.
Enjoy, Pete.
We'll freeze it
Good
there.
on you, mate.
Thanks, guys. Much
Good on
appreciated.
you, champion.
What's cracking?
And what's cracking is the NRL Grand Final. Penrith taking on South Sydney at Suncorp Stadium this Sunday. Crowd size TBC, but we want to drill down into the two teams, how they're going to win. Let's talk Penrith Panthers. They go into the game favourites. This is most people at the start of the year tipped the Panthers to be here after going down to the Storm last year. A lot of people thought it would be the Storm again, but it is South Sydney instead. MG, looking at this Panthers team, the way they've played, the 2 hard hitouts they've had in the last couple of weeks, how do they win this game? What is Ivan Cleary's message at the start before kickoff?
I think what is driving the current Panthers is the fact that they lost this game last year, and the fact that they, as I mentioned many times on the show this week, you've got to respect the grand final. And sometimes you don't understand what that means until you've been there and done it, like they are lucky enough to have done last year. Some teams like Girds in 2003 got to the grand final for the first time and they won it. So against the team who was hot favourites in the Roosters. But what happened last year with the Panthers, I think they didn't, all of a sudden the grand final was upon them, and at halftime the game was over and their clawback was futile. I think when you get beaten like that, you're filthy on yourself for not playing the way you should have played. And keep seeing Nathan Cleary's face in that post-game celebrations with Melbourne Storm lifting the trophy up, and he was livid with himself. I think he's been the rock that's driven them this year. I think their forward pack are formidable. Isaiah Yeo is playing career best form. He's playing like another halfback, which takes a lot of pressure off Cleary and Luai. By the time he gets the ball out to the back line, the halves are on the outside of the centres. So there's always an overlap. He's playing fantastically. Look, Luai and Cleary since New York, the NYC, the under 20s competition, they've played 56
New York
times.
City, baby.
New York City.
Yeah.
New York City. I'm back.
Remember when we could travel?
It's not far away, baby. They've played since the NYC competition back in 2000 and I think it was 56 times together, and they've won 52. This year they've won 21 games out of 22 this year.
Yeah.
Their combination is, intuitive, and I think that's one of the things that's really important. Not saying that South isn't, but these guys have been with each other since they were juniors. They know they're like twins. They read each other. They know their mental telepathy. And I just think...
Which one's Danny DeVito?
Well, I think Fisher Harris is Arnold. And Oz.
The Chopper. Is that in that movie?
Yeah,
No.
great movie. No, it's a different movie.
You've combined his movies, but you made your point.
Well, I think I think the losing one last year is driving them, and I think the fact that they've gone the hard way about it, they've really steeled themselves for this game. I think if everyone's taking bumps into the grand final, injuries. We're talking about Dylan Edwards. Everyone's got a little bit of a niggling injury, so. Yeah, I think Penrith will win, and I think they'll win in a way that they've been playing for the last couple of years, and that's by throwing the ball around a little bit.
Good. Specifically, if you look at Nathan Cleary and where he's taking his kicking game to, do you see opportunity? Is that going to be the key against these Bunnies backs on Sunday?
I think the Bunnies outside 5 are a little light on, to be honest, and I think if we see Penrith a little bit more cold-blooded, if we see them turn up with a knife between the teeth, as they have in the last couple of semi-finals, which is something they didn't do in last year's grand final, and they're willing to play, the long game, play with patience, I think they've got the mentality to do that, to really trouble South in those areas. South are just a great flamboyant. I mean, they're a brave side, but they're a side that really like to throw the football around, and when they get given opportunities in areas of the field that they feel comfortable, they're really hard to stop. So you just got to take that part of their game away, and you do that by being methodical. You're disciplined. I thought Penrith in that last contest against South were a little bit ill-disciplined early on in the game. Their ball control wasn't what it was. I don't think they took South easily. I just think that they probably had their mind on something else, and South surprised them. By the time Penrith tried to click into gear, it just didn't happen for them. And I don't think they were as fluent back then with their attack as what they've been able to progress to now. So I think they look a lot better with the football, but that's not going to win them the game. I think what's going to win them the game is the amount of opportunities they stop, which we saw last week in the Melbourne game. How many times did we see guys just find a way, scramble and get back there and stop Melbourne from scoring a try, as did Melbourne against Penrith. And we've seen that a lot during this final series. So the desperation, that sometimes takes energy as well. So how much of that energy is gone from Penrith from doing that over the last couple of weeks? How fresh is South Sydney going to be? So for mine, if it comes down to energy at the back end of the game, you would have to say that South Sydney are going to have more of it. So the only way to take that away from them is to really control the way the football's played. And I think Penrith have the side to do that. And if they put it into the corners, they can press their defensive line up. You got light guys at the back end of the back line for South Sydney that might really have trouble bringing it off their own line, making their forwards come all the way back inside their 10, inside their 20, and just they'll get sick of doing that, South Sydney. And if Penrith can get them into that situation, I think they can take advantage of it.
The rugby league nerds out there have just heard that and they've gotten all excited. They've memorised all of that. They're going to regurgitate it to their mates as their own information before Sunday's game. For those of you that need something a bit more simple, we've got the paper test coming up before the end of the show. At the start of the year, this man was putting in phone calls about trying to get a coaching job. That's where he was at. And MG, yesterday on the show, you declared it the number one, I can't believe I'm playing in a grand final storyline ahead of Sunday's game.
Yeah, I did. I had Blake Taff, I had Jai Arrow, I had Momorowski, and I had this man at number one because I think it's been an amazing journey and what a fairy tale it will be if they lift the trophy up on Sunday.
He joins us on the line now, Benji Marshall from South Sydney. G'day, Benj.
Hey, boys, what a story.
Benj, it's quite unbelievable, mate. Tell us, off the top, the biggest difference between when you won the competition back in 2005 compared to how it feels 2 days out from the grand final today.
Oh, yeah, I'm very relaxed this time. MB.
Yeah, I
bet. When I was younger, I think I spent up so much energy emotionally during the week. I felt like, I was thinking about the game so much and like so nervous about it. And I reckon by the time I got to the game, I felt a little bit drained. Whereas this time I feel very relaxed, probably because I'm off the bench and don't know what I'm going to do. So it's been that way all year, I just come on and do whatever in any position. And just enjoying it, mate. I really want to enjoy this week. Make sure I can give the boys as much sort of advice about staying relaxed and don't play in the game too early before it's even done. But just try and soak it all up. Really, it's just one of those things. If you think about it, 16 years between grand finals, that just goes to show they're not easy to make, and we just got to go along with it and make the most of it.
Hey, Benj, tell us a little bit about, you spoke about not playing the game too early. Now, has news filtered down to the group that potentially it might be moved?
No, not exactly. That was new news to me. But the thing I think we've dealt with really well this year is whatever the circumstances, we can't control any of that stuff. The only thing we can control is when we go out on the field, how much effort, what we put into the game. And that's how it's been for us all year. So regardless of where we play, what it is, what the crowd is, that doesn't matter to us. Obviously, it'd be nice to have it in Sydney with all our home crowds there, but that's not going to be the case. So whatever it is, we just deal with that, mate.
And what's it like for you guys at the moment? Are you guys under certain restrictions? Have things changed for you this week, or is it just similar to how it's been the preparation for all the other weeks?
Yeah, well, we've been based in the Gold Coast for our whole time we've been here, so we just moved to Brisbane this morning. We've been put into a hotel where we're in level 4 lockdown again, so we're not really, we can go training and back to the hotel. We won't be leaving the hotel, so it is what it is, mate. It's just part and parcel of what we need to do to get to this game. And I think, you got to give the NRL a lot of credit this year and last year for the steps it's been able to take to ensure the competition's carried on. And we're just really lucky, mate, that we get to play still, and better yet, play in a grand final.
Benj, back to your role off the bench. It's been an amazing year you've had, coming on sometimes at hooker, at 5'8", at halfback, at centre, at lock forward. And I said on the show yesterday, I don't think I've seen you defend better than you have this year. Is there been a mindset when you go on just to get stuck in because you don't know how long you'll be on the field for?
Yeah, you get stuck in. I mean, I just bring energy off the bench, really. I mean, just so grateful to still be playing. So sometimes when you find that gratitude, it's can be infectious within the team, and you can sort of have a really good attitude about all the things you do. But defensively, I mean, I'm in a really good team where the system's tight and everyone does their job, and that really makes a big difference defensively. And I suppose in the middle, you don't have to make as many decisions. You're just sort of people running straight, so you just get your body in front and the boys get in and help you. So, I'm no hitman like you, MG, but I was doing the best,
Oh, I love your ferocity. You are a hitman off the bench. You get in and you whack people.
Yeah, mate, we'll throw that one, we'll dump that one. But, look, I'll just come on and try and not miss the tackles. That's the biggest thing. And, mate, because if you do, Wayno's breathing down your neck, So there's a bit of, I suppose, ownership and accountability with your position and your role and knowing what to do. And that's what Wayne's good at, is making sure everyone is accountable for their actions on the field. And that's just part of it. You just got to go on and do your job.
you might not be a hitman, but the man you tipped us into at the beginning of the year as the player to watch, Keon Kalamatangi, I mean, his last 4 weeks in particular, it has been something quite remarkable. You said he'd be good. Did you know he was going to get to this level?
Oh, I still think there's another level to Keon's game, to be honest with you. He's, what he is doing now is his ability to switch. He plays 80 minutes, right? So he plays in the back row at the start, then he goes into the middle, does some hard yards. So for a guy his size, his motor's unbelievable. I think he's just doing his job, as a back row and as a middle, but he's got skills. He can pass, he can offload. His drawn passes are some of the best I've seen for a big man. But I think he's still got room to grow in that area, and he's got a lot of potential there. But he's been outstanding, mate. Honestly, I still think he's going to be one of the game's biggest stars. And he doesn't get a lot of accolades, but there's something there that's pretty scary about him.
Yeah, he's got some decent players around him too. Hey, Benj, you get a lot of accolades for the way it's team first mentality and the way you've matured as a player. Can I be honest? I find it a little bit boring. I used to love the Benji Marshall back in the late 2000s, brother. Like, what about a chip and chase in a grand final from your own half? What about some of those things that you used to do, a flick pass here or there? Have we got something in store for the big day on Sunday?
Absolutely. First touch, Wayne actually told me to chip and chase. I was, so when I come on, I'm just I could do anything, mate.
Three-man cutout.
What are you trying to do here? It's not, the game's changed, mate. Position and all that stuff changes, and if I do a chip and chase and it doesn't come off and we lose the game, then it's going to be my fault.
Come on, mate.
Surely Jackson Paulo or Alex Johnston's been in his ear saying, can you make me Pat Richards? Can I be your new Pat Richards and throw me behind the back and send me across the line? We get that moment.
But Cody Walker's been practicing his flick passes all week because he said he wants a moment better than
Well, he is certainly a man capable of it. Benji Marshall, I guess we need to ask, is this going to be your last game on Sunday?
Oh, well, I'm glad you asked because I haven't been asked this week.
No, you've been told, haven't you?
Yeah. Oh, well, actually, Wayne retired me in the press conference. I actually said, no, mate, I said to Wayne, I said, yeah, that's okay. Well, you retire, then I'll retire. He backed up a bit, and it's just, I don't know. I don't want to go out and say it's my last game because I don't want to have to go on the field thinking I need to do more than
good
what
point.
I need to do,
Great point.
Or get in a headset or mindset where I'm going to go out there and tack this like it's my last game because I don't need to, mate. I just come on and do the role I need to do, and then at the end of the season, I'll see where I'm at. I'll see what's on the table, and then I'll make a decision. But at the moment, anything could happen.
Well, it worked for Cam Smith last year. I mean, he didn't retire till February.
Just don't drag it out.
Has he retired? I didn't even know he retired.
Yeah, please don't drag it out like that, please. Well, Benji,
I won't be dragging it out, mate. It's either yes or no.
Benji Marshall, we cannot wait to see you out there on Sunday. Congratulations on the season thus far. Best of luck for Sunday. Going to be a big one. Good luck.
Go well,
Benji. Greatest radio show on at this time slot on this day.
Yeah, you know it, baby. Boy.
First, we need to look at this game from a Bunny side of thing. We need to put ourselves in the shoes of the great Wayne Bennett and break this game down. Girds, how does South Sydney win on Sunday?
Well, they did it 3 weeks ago, and they've got to go down the same path, Liam. It's all about controlling that middle third of the field. It's all about meeting Penrith, making sure you stop some momentum, and then just allowing guys like Cook and Cody Walker to start getting into the contest at some point. Now, the first probably 15 or 20 minutes, that's where I think for South Sydney it's going to be key. They need to definitely hold that middle. They need to wait until Burgess and Arrow come on the field then. Then they need to lift the tempo a little bit, and they need to make sure they capitalise on Penrith errors. So as soon as they get opportunity in Penrith's half, they need to then start attacking that left-hand side, bring those combinations in, get Taff out the back of shape with Cody Walker. I think it's all about the platform, I think, or the blueprint was there. They did it. They played exactly how they needed to in round one of the semi-finals. It needs to be a pretty much copy-paste performance like that, and they need to be able to do it for 80 minutes. And the kicking games from Reynolds, again, all those fundamentals, I think they need to get all those right. And if they can do that, I think they put themselves in a really good spot to win it.
Yeah. When they had 50 points put on twice this season and then Latrell's suspension, they've just come against the odds to be where they are. I think it's on the back of their coach, obviously Wayne Bennett, their captain, Adam Reynolds leaving. There's a lot of emotion in this team. And if you're going to pick the road to go to the grand final, they've got the easier road, I think. Penrith, we don't know yet until Sunday, but how much did last Saturday's game take out of them against the Melbourne Storm? How much did Parramatta's game the week before? And how much before that was the South Sydney game? So South beat Penrith, had a week off, played Manly, had a week off. Now they're coming in as fresh as daisies. And the coach, their coach is in the top 3 coaches we've ever seen in the game. He won't leave any stone unturned. He wants to make every post a winner. How they win, they've got to, exactly what Girds said. They've got to complete well. Their kicking game's got to be on point. They've got to make sure that these big guys up front, i.e. Nichols and Totola, who Totola's been really outstanding. Really outstanding. They don't go anywhere South without a quick play the ball from either way or either front rower, and then Cam Murray for Damien Cook. If Damien Cook runs 6 or 7 times in a game, they usually win. It's when you keep him down to 3 or 4 runs in a game they don't, because they don't get any momentum from that.
No.
Cam Murray's we spoke of Isaiah Yeo, how he's like another big half. Well, Cam Murray's running of the football is second to none. He's got that ability to jink at the last minute and just get through the line, so he gets a really good play the ball away. You watch on Sunday, most of the good things that happen with South come on the back of Cam Murray's runs. So, look, they've got every chance to win this game, South Sydney. They've got to stick to their basics and remember what they've done to get there. Don't try and do anything differently.
Yeah. Do you now, I know you're both tipping Penrith, but do you think Cody Walker will win or lose? Do you think Cody Walker will silence those people that question his ability in big games?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, I think he's done that in this final series, to be honest. Yeah, I don't think there's any doubt. He was exceptional last week against Manly, and even sometimes Cody, I mean, the way that he plays, he needs to wait for the team to get himself in a position to play that style of footy. Now, I think a lot of 5'8" in the game are very similar. So last week I thought the way that he handled the extra responsibility of the general play kicking with no Reynolds there obviously doing that was a really good step forward for him, and also got him in the contest. So he always had the ball in his hands. Yeah. So for me, it's just about, he just needs to have the ball regardless of the situation that Souths are in, because things happen around him.
Yeah. All right. Well, that is how Souths can triumph on Sunday. It was I'm very proud of you two, you Panthers icons, for both being unbiased in your delivery there.
In summary, may the best team win. Honestly.
Yeah.
Because I think everyone's got a soft spot for Penrith, and likewise for South Sydney. So may the best team win.
Now, what would a grand final edition of the Rush Hour be without this?
MG has cracked the code, and nobody else is getting it. This is MG's paper test.
The only way to tip winners in the game of rugby league. Girds, I don't know if you've ever done a paper test before, but the way it works, MG used to sit on the hill. He figured this out.
Yeah, I went to Cumberland Oval with my dad when I think I was about 7 or 8 when I used to get the big league, and I'd go in, I'd sit there while Dad was on the drink. Mm-hmm. And I just found myself gravitating towards the stats side of rugby league, and i.e., I'd always mark off when they got a penalty or a scrum.
Really?
But before
in that little box down the corner.
Yeah, I'd love that. I just love doing that. But what I'd love to do, I'd sit there.
Good work, Rain, man.
How many toothpicks? I used to sit there before reserve grade, then I'd say, okay, 10 minutes before the big game. And I'd go down each team and I'd say, I'd look at the fullbacks. Whoever I thought was the best player out of them two, I'd put a tick next to their name.
Okay.
And I'd go all the way down to the 13 players. And at the end of the 13, I'd say, okay, they won 8-5, so they're going to win.
That's who he tips.
Unbelievable. I mean, so prepared, so professional. What happened?
Yeah, I know.
But in the words of what Sam Burgess said, you keep it simple. It's about keeping it simple, and that's what the paper test does. So let's get stuck in. All right. Fullbacks, Dylan Edwards v. Blake Taff. Who you got, MG?
Dill Edwards.
Girds?
He's hobbling around a little bit. I've been really impressed with Blake Taff's form over the last couple of weeks. So just Dylan Edwards.
Yeah.
Just.
I can tell he's already overthinking the paper test.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, sorry.
Very much
I'll
so.
speed it up. Sorry,
Stephen
boss.
Crichton, Alex Johnston.
Johnston.
Ooh, tough one. Girds?
Crichton.
Paul Momorowski, Dane Gagai. MG?
Gagai.
Gagai.
Matt Burton, Campbell Graham.
Matt Burton.
Can't split him.
You can do a push.
Yeah, you can do it. You can do a
split.
push.
Push.
Yep.
Brian To'o, Jackson Paulo.
Brian.
Brian.
Into the halves, Jerome Luai, Cody Walker.
Cody Walker.
Yeah. Cody Walker.
Nathan Cleary, Adam Reynolds.
Nathan Cleary.
Now we're into the forwards. Moses Leota, Mark Nichols.
Oh.
MG?
Split.
A split.
Yep.
Good.
I think they're exactly the same as for each other for that team.
Leota.
Appy Coruscant, Damien Cook.
Cook.
Push.
Fisher Harris, Totola.
Fisher Harris.
Fisher Harris.
Viliami kick out, Keon Kalamatangi.
Wow. Wow. Kick out.
Current form, Kalamatangi.
Whew. Kurt Capewell, Jaden Sewer.
God.
Capewell. 2 back rows for Queensland.
Capewell.
Isaiah Yo, Cam Murray.
No, it's push.
I'd have to say Murray.
Right. Now, the way the bench works, Girds, is it's 1 vote for the entire bench. So for Panthers, you're looking at Tyrone May, Scott Sorensen, Spencer Leniu, Liam Martin.
Yep.
And for the Bunnies, it is Benji Marshall, Jacob Host, Tom Burgess, Jai Arrow. MG.
Rabbitohs.
Good.
Bunnies.
Okay, we're just going to talk amongst yourselves.
Yeah,
while
who
I
came up
tell you
with
the votes.
Who came up with the decision to only give 1 point to the bench? Was that
Liam, actually.
Was that you, Liam?
Yeah.
Okay.
What do you think of it?
I think it should be 2 points.
Yes.
I actually wanted to. I thought
think
as a
it should be 2
tiebreaker. I
points.
thought as a
I think-
tiebreaker.
I don't think you're valuing the impact of the bench.
Well, it's all about efficiency, good.
Yes.
I actually thought as a tiebreaker, because I think we had one in this final series.
Yes, we
there
did.
should be you should give a vote based on the coach.
Yeah. Yeah.
Ooh.
Who
Well,
would, if while I add these up, who would you give your vote to?
I'm not going to get involved in hypotheticals.
No, I'm not getting involved in the coaching side of it either.
It's
Because,
part of it or not?
No, it's not. I never went to coaches.
No.
But I used to.
But I think the bench should.
Yeah.
I think the bench should maybe be 1.5 points. That way you can never end on a tie.
You should You should put that in the suggestion box next year.
Yeah, I will.
Yeah.
Where is that the box in the corner
that
over
one
there,
there.
the wooden one?
Well, wooden one with the.
What happened to the lid?
The
Don't
20,
worry.
the 20 bird on it.
Don't worry, it's anonymous, Girds. No one will know it was from you. Now, gentlemen, the results from the paper test are in.
Yep.
You blokes have gone the exact same result. Exactly the same, according to the paper test. You've both gone 7-5 with 2 pushes. Penrith win the grand final,
7-5.
according to the paper test.
Oh, well.
There you go.
That's definitive. That is definitive.
Is that definitive?
That is
7-5, is it?
definitive.
Okay.
Well, hope we're
They
right.
need to get the engraver ready.
Get your ring size ready,
It's
boys.
been decided.
Yeah, do they engrave anything?
Not anymore.
I think so, don't they?
What?
Not in COVID, mate. They just throw you the ring from 20 metres away.
1, 2, 3, it's a reaches out and score over the 40. They come to the open line. This might be a miracle try.
The Triple M Rush Hour's Rapid Fire Footy.
And it is our grand final edition of Rapid Fire Footy for the final time in 2021. Thanks to the Lone Pine Tavern in Rooty Hill. Drive-through food fest every weekend, lonepinetavern.com.au. If you got yourself sorted at home, you're set up for Sunday's game, go and drive through the Lone Pines drive-through, the food fest.
Do yourself a favour.
Do yourself a favour.
Yeah.
Support your locals and enjoy this Sunday's game. Now, gentlemen, for the final time, fast footy questions, fast footy answers, please. MG, let's start with you.
Yep.
Clive Churchill medalist. Why don't we start there?
Isaiah Yo.
Good.
Happy Coruscant.
MG, who has what we're going to call an MG moment? Because your moment in the 91 grand final where you took the ball, you thought you were just going to dive on it and collapse, turned out to be the greatest pass ever thrown by a Panther in the history of the club as he hit Roy Simmons for the ceiling try. And then if you think back to Benji Marshall in 2014 when he threw the flick pass, 2005, sorry, when he threw the flick pass to Pat Richards. Who has that moment on Sunday?
I think Matt Burton. I just love the way he holds himself. I just love the way he's got an aura about him, and I think he's going to produce something really special on Sunday.
And I think everyone's just starting to realise how big he is.
He's 6'4",
when he stood
big
up
body.
when he stood up on the stage at the Dally M's,
He's 6'4".
I think people went, "Holy, he's massive."
Big 6.
Gertz, who has that moment for you?
I think we might see a Viliami kick-out special. Like 3 or 4, fended off over a couple and score in the corner late in the game.
And then he goes all Wolf of Wall Street and says, "I'm not leaving. I'm staying in the mountains."
Let's hope so.
There you go. Let's jump ahead and predict. If depending on which team wins.
Yep.
MG, give us a best on ground in celebrations for both teams.
I'll say Jai Arrow for the Rabbitohs.
Oh yeah, that's that's Winks like.
That's a given. And I reckon someone like Steve Crichton maybe.
Oh, the critter.
Yeah.
All right, Kurt.
I'm going to say Adam Reynolds, given the emotion
Sure.
around leaving the club, and I'd say supported well by Jai Arrow. And I'm going to say the nutty Professor Liam Martin. I reckon he might get a little off the hook after half a dozen shandies or so. He could be a bit of fun. So Liam Martin,
the Tamora type. I like it. Okay. Well, sticking with that theme, going back to 1991, MG, who was, from your memory, best on in the celebrations?
Paul Nobby Clark was the best. Oh. He just went. He was unbelievable.
Girds' reaction tells me that's pretty spot on.
Yeah, I got to play with Nobbo a fair bit, the back end of his career there. Yeah, he was an absolute legend. Yeah, absolutely.
And when you talk about Jai Arrow potentially being best on if Souths get up, Girds, going back to 2003, I feel like Craig Gower is the obvious answer.
Yeah, Gowie was definitely on the podium. But
James Hooper was
James Hooper. A young James Hooper. I think he was a cadet for the Daily Mirror or something at the time. He was definitely on the podium as well. So we had a couple of standouts there. Everyone had their moments. I think the longer the week goes, you get different people contributing in different ways. But Gowie was always close to the action.
Yeah, fair enough. All right, well, look, we've got to finish up rapid fire. We've got to finish up our grand final special edition of the Rush Hour. Monday morning's headline. I'm putting your sub-editor skills to the test here. Ryan Girdler, we'll start with you.
Oh, you're going to go with me?
Yeah, I'm going to start with you.
I usually need a little bit of inspiration from MG because...
You look to your forward to lead the way and set the tone. I get it.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, if the Rabbitohs win, it's going to be something along the lines of Wayne's World. Rabbitohs prevail. Yeah.
Party time, excellent.
And I think if Penrith win, it's going to be yo, 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 Panthers prevail.
I can't. You can't top that. That's too good. That's too good.
That's why I tried to get you to go first.
Yeah.
Because you can't follow that.
No, you can't.
You don't have to, in fact.
Okay.
That's a beautiful way to sum it up. All right. There it is. We are done. Thanks again to the Lone Pine Tavern in Rudy Hill for all their support of Rapid Fire Footy this year. Gentlemen, thank you both for your efforts today.
Great work, Girds.
Grand final edition. You really put in the full 80. Oh, you've got one?
Yeah.
Better be worth it. All right. You've halted all the momentum of the wind-up, but take it away.
Luke's cape well and truly fits.
Nah, awful.
See you, buddy.
That was not worth it.
Damn
MG, say goodbye.
He's Girds.
See you guys.
He's Liam. I'm MG. As always.
Like Cape Well. Did you not get it? Cape Well. Cape well and truly fits.
Like Girds and
Luke's is going to have a great game.
Stay random. Go the Panthers.